Good morning, dear students. Today we will start with lecture number 15, chapter number 15, Biodiversity and Conservation. I hope you are preparing well with me and you've understood all the chapters and all topics well. Okay? And this is a chapter which will also be coming in your PA1, PA2. So this is very, very important from the board point of view also. They ask you the 3 marks as well as the 5 mark questions from this particular chapter. Okay. So let's start with this chapter, dear students. Now in this particular chapter, we'll be talking about the two basic concepts. One is a biodiversity and second is biodiversity conservation. So to begin with, let's understand what does the word biodiversity means. So biodiversity basically means it is the heterogeneity at all levels of biological organization ranging from cellular micromolecules to biomes. What rather, in a very simple word, what we should understand from this word is biodiversity. Bio means life. Diversity means the variation. So we observe that in nature, there is diverse kinds of life organisms that are available. Okay. Diverse kinds of organisms which are available in our ecosystem. Now this biodiversity word, it was popularized by a scientist which is named as Edward Wilson. Okay, he was a scientist who popularized this word biodiversity. Now as I'm talking about the biodiversity and I'm saying that there is a, you can say, large number of living organisms which are available. Now let's compare this data, the data that we have today. Now if I see, there are, if I talk about the fishes, there are approximately 28,000 species of fishes only. Just imagine this. We have 28,000 species of fishes and 20,000 species of orchids known so far. And moreover, there is 20,000 species of the ants. Just imagine, ants that I'm talking about. We have approximately 20,000 species of ants known so far. So we have 28,000 species of fishes, 28,000 species of ants, 20,000 species of your orchids. And apart from this, there is 3 lakh species of beetles. If we count the number of beetles, so there is 3 lakh species. Just imagine this, 3 lakh species of beetles, isn't it? So if an alien lands from a distant galaxy and he observes our planet Earth, the first thing he will be amazed. Okay, the first thing he will notice here, and he will be amazed to see the diverse kinds of plants and animals which are available on the surface of the earth. Just imagine this. So this was just a glimpse of the biodiversity which is available on the surface of the earth, right? And this, division occurs at all levels, not only in terms of species, but it also occurs in terms of the biomes. It also occurs in terms of the macromolecules which are available. So the biodiversity, we can say there are 3 aspects of the biodiversity. Okay, there are 3 levels of biodiversity. There are 3 aspects of biodiversity. One is a genetic biodiversity, second is species diversity, and third is ecological diversity. Now let's talk about these types of diversities individually. So taking the genetic diversity in the beginning, genetic diversity का मतलब होता है the diversity at the genetic level. Okay, a single species might show a high diversity at the genetic level over its distributional range. Okay, even a single species can show variation. Now to begin with, let's talk about India has about 50,000 species of 50,000 different strains of rice and 10,000 varieties of mango. See, you can look into the picture. We have a different kinds of mangoes, and approximately there are 1,000 species of mango. And we talk about the rice. So there are 50 different strains of 50,000 different strains of the rice. Now apart from this, there is a flower. As you can see, this flower is, just look at the picture, I've magnified. The name of the flower is Ruwolfia vomentia. Now this particular plant, it grows in different regions of the Himalayan ranges, and it shows a diversity in terms of concentration of an active chemical. Both of these are the flowers of the same plant, and they exhibit diversity in the concentration of an active chemical which is referred to as rhizopine. So दोनों ये जो आपके plants हैं, जो आपके flowers हैं, इनके अंदर एक specific तरीके का chemical पाया जाता है. There's a variation in the concentration of this chemical, that is rhizopine, and depending upon the concentration there are different kinds of flowers also. So we have approximately 50,000 strains of rice, 10,000 strains of mangoes, and then a huge variation in the chemical which is found in the flower Ruwolfia vomentia. Now coming to this second level, which is referred to as species diversity. Now species diversity, see, we have 3 hotspot areas in terms of species diversity. One is your Himalayan ranges. Second is your eastern and western Ghats. So these are your western Ghats, these are your eastern Ghats. Let me magnify the picture. So these are your eastern Ghats, these are your western Ghats, and the Himalayan ranges. So these 3 areas, they are very rich in species diversity. Now if we talk about in the western Ghats especially, there is a greater diversity of amphibians even in comparison to your eastern Ghats. So the number of the types of amphibians which are available on the western Ghats, that is more in comparison to the eastern Ghats. And if you look at the pictures, see, I have pasted some pictures of the amphibian species. You can see the different types of frogs. These are all frogs, just imagine, and there are all different species of the frogs. So the number of the species that are found at the western Ghats is greater in comparison to the eastern Ghats. The third level is the ecological level. Ecological level means the diversity at the ecosystem level. See, in nature we have diverse kinds of ecosystems. Like in India we have deserts, as you can see here, where there is scarcity of water, and the temperature fluctuates to the major extremes, like it is very low in the night and then it is very high during the day. Plants also exhibit modifications to survive in that particular area's population is very low. Now then you have a rainforest. As you can see in this picture, the rainforest is there, a lot of water will be available, temperature will be a little bit high, but whenever it goes high, then it will again rainfall and temperature will be reduced. You have mangroves, then you have coral reefs, isn't it? Wetlands, asheries, alpine meadows. So these are all examples of the different kinds of ecosystem which are available on the surface of the earth, which are available not only on the surface of the earth but also in India. So we have different kinds of ecosystems. So there is a diversity at the ecosystem as well. So we have completed the 3 levels of the ecosystem, 3 levels of the biodiversity. One is the genetic level, second is species diversity, and third is the ecological diversity. Now students, you must remember that it has taken million of years for the evolution. Evolution process को million of years का time लगा है चीज़ों को इतना evolve करने के लिए. Okay, and that is why we have accumulated such a huge diversity in nature. But we must emphasize that we could lose all the wealth that we have accumulated from centuries within less than 2 centuries. If we go at the present rate of the species losses, देखिए जिस तरीके से species का loss हो रहा है, अगर उसी present rate से हमारी species lost होती रहेंगी, so it will hardly take 2 million two centuries, and all these species will be wiped out from the surface of the earth. So we need to understand that this the biodiversity has evolved through a long period of time, and we should maintain it, we should understand its importance, and we also need to understand that our survival and well-being on this planet also depends upon these species. So it is very, very important. Okay. Now let's compare the number of species that are available on the surface of the earth and how many are present in India. So let's compare the global species diversity with that of the Indian. Okay. How much diversity is available in India in comparison to the whole world or the whole earth? See, as per the data which was accumulated by IUCN, that is International Union of Conservation and Natural Resources, 2004, there are 1.5 million species that have been described so far. So we have recorded about 1.5 million species so far. Okay, and some scientists, they believe that there are approximately 20 to 50 million species, but you can say a major estimate, a more sound estimate has been made by the Robert May global estimate, which is called and as per the Robert May, there are 7 million species that have been discovered so far. Okay, there are how many? There are 7 million species. And if we take into account that are only 22% of the species, of the total species that have been recorded so far, means जो 7 million species की बात हम कर रहे हैं वो सिर्फ 22% है हमारी total species जो हमने discover किए हैं. यानी still we are left with 68% of the species are yet to be discovered. तो 68% species जो हैं वो अभी भी discover होनी बाकी हैं. Rather I should say 78, not 68. 78% of the species are yet to be discovered. Just imagine this. So far we have only discovered 22% of the species that are available on the surface of the earth. And out of that, the 70% animals, 70% of the organisms, they are animals, and 22% are plants. Okay, and the animals that we've talked about, the majority of the animals that that have been discovered, they are insects. Means if we compare, out of every 10 animal we have 7 insects. अगर हम 70% animals discover कर चुके हैं तो out of those 70%, majority of the animals that have been discovered are insects. And if we talk about, so if we compare the 10 animals, that out of 10, 7 are insects. And in totality, number of fungus species is so large. The number of fungus species is so large that if we combine the number of species of fishes, amphibians, reptiles and mammals combined together, if we combine the number of fishes, amphibian, reptiles and mammals, the total of all these 4 different types of organisms will be even lesser than the number of fungus species. तो आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि फंगस स्पीशीज़ का नंबर कितना ज़्यादा है कि अगर हम इन चारों इंडिविजुअल्स को, चारों ऑर्गेनिजम्स के नंबर को टोटल भी करते हैं तो भी फंगस की स्पीशीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा है. Now let's understand this. This is a pie chart that we have made. So let's understand. Let's compare the invertebrates. Okay. So if you look at this, these are all animals that have been discovered so far, and majority of them, they are the insects. Just imagine this. Majority of them, they are insects, followed by some other animals, then mollusk, and lastly the crustaceans. So the number of crustaceans discovered is very, very less. Now in coming to the plants, in plants if we compare, the majority of the organisms, they are angiosperms and your fungi. This majority is your fungus. So angiosperms and fungi, they represent majority of the plants, while algae, lichens, mosses and ferns, okay, mosses, ferns, as you can see, their percentage is very, very low. So in plants, majority of the plants are fungus and the angiosperms. In case of invertebrates, majority of the organisms discovered are insects. In case of vertebrates, the majority of the organisms, they are fishes. Okay, as you can see, the majority of the organisms, they are fishes, followed by birds, then reptiles. Mammals and amphibians, they represent an equal number of organisms, nearly an equal number of organisms. So from this flow chart, you can understand that in vertebrates, it is dominated by insects. Plants, they are dominated by the fungus and the angiosperms. and vertebrates are dominated by the fishes. Okay. Now it is, so far we have not talked about the number of species of prokaryotic organisms. Okay, we have not talked about any prokaryotic species so far because the conventional taxonomic methods that we are using, they cannot identify the microbial species. हम जो भी कन्वेंशनल मेथड्स यूज़ करते हैं उनसे हम अपनी माइक्रोबियल स्पीशीज़ को आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर सकते. एंड दूसरा, many of the species they cannot be cultured in the lab conditions, in the laboratory conditions. So we do not have any data regarding the prokaryotic species. तो हमारे पास जितना भी डेटा अवेलेबल है उसमें हमारे पास प्रोकैरियोटिक ऑर्गेनिजम्स का कोई डेटा अवेलेबल नहीं है बिकॉज ऑफ दीज टू रीजन्स. वन, that your conventional methods they are not suitable, and secondly most of the species they cannot be cultured in the lab. Now coming to the biodiversity of India. See, as I told you, India only occupies 2.4% of the world's area. देखिए, अगर हम इंडिया की बात करते हैं कि इंडिया का जो एरिया है वो सिर्फ 2.4% है वर्ल्ड के कंपैरिजन में. इवन देन वी हैव 8.1% ऑफ द टोटल डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. देखिए, हमारा एरिया जो इंडिया का है वो वर्ल्ड में सिर्फ 2.4% है, लेकिन हमारी जो डाइवर्सिटी की कॉन्सेंट्रेशन दैट इज़ 8.1%. सो दैट इज़ वाई वी आर काउंटेड एज one of the 12 mega diversity countries. Okay, because we have very rich diversity. And we have approximately 45,000 species of plants and nearly the double number of animals. तो आप imagine कर सकते हैं इंडिया के अंदर 45,000 प्लांट्स की स्पीशीज़ हैं और करीब करीब 90,000 स्पीशीज़ जो है वो एनिमल्स की हैं. और अगर हम मे के एस्टिमेट, ग्लोबल एस्टिमेट को अप्लाई करते हैं, ओके, अगर हम जो मे का एस्टिमेट था दैट इन नेचर देयर आर 7 मिलियन स्पीशीज़ दैट आर एग्जिस्टिंग, तो अगर हम उस ग्लोबल एस्टिमेट को अप्लाई करते हैं तो वी कैन से दैट द प्रॉबेबली वी हैव 1 लाख प्लांट स्पीशीज़ and 3 lakh animal species yet to be discovered. They are yet to be discovered. Okay, they are yet to be discovered. So imagine kariye, if we apply the May global estimates, then in India, so far we have 45,000 species of plants and 90,000 species of plants that have been discovered. And apart from this, 1 lakh plant species are yet to be discovered and 3 lakh animal species are yet to be discovered. So you can imagine the level of biodiversity that is available in India. Now, before we come to go to the patterns of biodiversity, you need to understand that the situation that is in terms of biodiversity. देखिए, हम देख पा रहे हैं कि पिछले कुछ सालों में in last many years, we have observed that the number of species they are becoming extinct even before we are discovering them. So, जो pace हमारी extinction की चल रही है उस हिसाब से हम ऐसा मानते हैं, there's a very famous quotation that I'll say, that nature's biological library is burning even before we are cataloging the titles of all the books that are stocked there. Means it is just an example कि अगर एक लाइब्रेरी है और लाइब्रेरी के अंदर हमने बुक्स रखी हैं, तो इससे पहले कि हम उन बुक्स को लेबल करें और कैटलॉग करें, there is we have burned the library. So all books will be destroyed before we are able to catalog all the books. So at the present rate, the number of species that are becoming extinct is very large, and it might be possible that before we are able to discover them, they will become extinct. So we'll not be having any idea whether they existed or not on the surface of the earth. Okay, so the pace of extinction is very, very high. Now coming to the patterns of biodiversity. Now basically here we'll be talking about 2 patterns of biodiversity. One is a latitudinal gradient. Okay, latitudinal gradient means the variation that we will observe along the latitude. Okay, latitudes, as you see, this is the equator. Just look at this picture. Just let me magnify this picture. As you can see, this is referred to as a 0 degree Celsius equator. Then at 23 half, we have Tropic of Cancer. Same here at 23 half, we have Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. Then on further side, we will observe that there is North Pole and the South Pole, right? So it is a general belief, that the biodiversity decreases as we move away from the equator. तो जैसे जैसे हम इक्वेटर से दूर जाते जाते हैं, biodiversity, the number of organisms available decreases, and majority of the organisms, they are available in the range of 23 half north to 23 half south. तो आप देखिए जो डॉटेड लाइन है, दिस डॉटेड लाइन, लेट मी इंडिकेट इट वेरी वेरी क्लियरली. Let's use a different color, not this one, let's use this. So ये जो एरिया है आपका डॉटेड लाइन्स के बीच में, मैक्सिमम बायोडाइवर्सिटी इस एरिया में है. That is between the 23 half north, that is between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. And as you move away from the equator, biodiversity, the level of species diversity, it decreases. And number of species in the polar areas, as you can see near the North Pole and near the South Pole, the number is less in comparison to your temperate as well as other species, other areas. So just for example, if I see Colombia is present near to the equator here. So in Colombia, there are approximately 1400 species of birds, because this city or this country is located near to the equator. Now India, which is present in the tropical latitudes, has approximately 1200 species of birds. So you can imagine, Colombia is near to the equator, so it has 1400 species. India is a little bit away from the equator, it has 1200 species. Okay. Now as we go down, that is in Greenland. Okay. As we go down in Greenland, 0 to will be coming to, let's suppose will be coming to New York first. Okay, 40 degrees. So again the number of species only 105. So number of species, they are decreasing, isn't it? And then we come to the 71. See here we have only 56 species of birds. Okay, we have only 56 species of birds. So here New York is an exception. In case of New York, we have more number of species, while our general trend says that biodiversity should decrease. So we should have a lesser number of species of birds in New York, but it is having 105 species of birds. So few exceptions are also there. Colombia has 1400 species of birds, India has 1200 species of birds, New York has 105, and Greenland has 56 species of birds. Now in the same series, I should say that a forest in the tropical region, okay, a forest in the tropical region like the Ecuador, it has 10 times as many species of plants as a forest of equal area in temperate region. तो अगर हम region को compare कर रहे हैं, as I told you that most of the biodiversity it lies in the 23 half north and 23 half south. और ये जो एरिया है जो इक्वेटर के आसपास है, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड एज ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज. और जैसे जैसे हम दूर जाते जाते हैं वो टेम्परेट एरिया आ जाता है. ठीक है. सो जस्ट अ कंपैरिजन कि जो टेम्परेट एरिया है वहाँ पर नंबर ऑफ़ स्पीशीज़ का नंबर इन कंपैरिजन ट्रॉपिकल एरिया कम है. और जैसे कि हम एक्वाडोर एक ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं टेम्परेट रेन फॉरेस्ट से, सो हियर इन ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट यू विल हैव 10 times more number of plants like I'm talking about. Okay, I hope you've understood. Okay, so you can see this is a in the picture also you can locate this kind of forest, that is your Ecuador tropical rainforest. Okay, now let's compare the number of species that are available. See, there is an Amazon rainforest in South America. Okay, Amazon Amazon rainforest. Okay, as it is written in the center. Amazonian rainforest, which is observed in South America. This forest has a greatest biodiversity on the surface of Earth. Okay, it has been observed that it has a greatest number of species that are available in the Earth, and it is basically a home to 40,000 species, more than 40,000 species of plants. इस पर्टिकुलर रेन फॉरेस्ट में आपकी करीब करीब 40,000 स्पीशीज ऑफ प्लांट्स अवेलेबल हैं, more than 1,25,000 of invertebrates, 378 reptiles, 428 amphibians, 427 mammals, species of mammals, 1,300 species of birds, and 3,000 species of fishes which have been observed so far. Okay. And the scientists, they have estimated that in these rainforests there might be at least 2 million species of insects that are yet to be discovered. So आप imagine कर सकते 2 million, okay, 2 million species of insects are yet to be discovered. Species of insects. So such a rainforest has a large number of biodiversity, large number of organisms available, or we can say the level of biodiversity is very, very high. Now the question comes, why does a tropical rainforest has a large number of organisms available there? Why we are talking about the Amazon rainforest, that it has large number of organisms? Why? What is the reason? So basically there are 3 reasons for such a highest biodiversity or the species richness which has been observed in the tropics. So there are 3 reasons for this. The first reason is that speciation is generally a function of time. Okay, speciation is generally a function of time. I should write it here, but let's use a different color. So first is speciation is a function of time. Speciation is a function of time. What do we understand from this word? Speciation of function of time means that these tropical latitudes, these tropical areas, they have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years. Okay, these areas, they have relatively remained undisturbed, while in case of polar areas we had frequent glaciations. We had frequent glaciers, we had frequent falling of ice falls, but here these areas, they have remained undisturbed for millions of years, and thus they had more evolutionary time in comparison to any other area. Okay, they had more of evolutionary time in comparison to any other area. I hope you understood this. Yes. The second is the tropical environment. The second factor that contributes the species diversification or species richness is tropical environment. Now, what do you understand by this word, tropical environment? See, these areas, the tropical areas, they are less seasonal, okay, and they have a more relatively constant environment. First of all, they do not have seasons, they are less seasonal, and the environment is constant. Okay, they have a constant environment, means less fluctuation in the environment, and this constant environment, it will promote the niche specialization. तो यहाँ जो environment है वो काफ़ी change नहीं होता है, और उसकी वजह से जो organisms यहाँ रहते हैं उनके अंदर niche specialization आ जाती है, means they adapt themselves to the environment, they become more fit to the environment, and that is why they have a greater species diversity. Okay, so 2 reasons so far. First, speciation is a function of time. That means these areas have remained relatively undisturbed, and that is why they have a more evolutionary time for species diversification. Second is tropical environment. They have a less seasonal kind of environment, The environment does not fluctuate much, and because of the constant environment, they have niche specialization, and thus it has contributed to species diversity. The third reason that we have is the amount of solar energy available here. Amount of solar energy. This is the third reason. We observed that in these areas, large amount of solar energy is available, and because of large amount of solar energy, this energy contributes to the higher productivity, and that in turn will definitely contribute to greater diversity. So there are three reasons why we have so much of diversity available in the tropical areas in comparison to the temperate or the polar areas. The second component that we have to talk about is species area relationship. Species area relationship means we'll be comparing the number of species that is available in a particular area. Okay. Now there was a German naturalist or geographer named as Alexander von Humboldt. And he observed through his experimental study that within a region, the species richness or the number of species richness means the number of species available in a particular area, it increases with increasing the explored area. कि अगर हम एरिया को इंक्रीज करते हैं तो नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज भी इंक्रीज करती है, बट ओनली टू अ सर्टन लिमिट. ओके, but it represents only to a certain limits. So let's understand this. Now suppose I am taking this area, let this area be A. Okay, then let's take another area, let this area be B. Another area, let this area be C. Okay, and then a much bigger area, let this area be D. So here I am comparing the area with the number of species availability. Now suppose if I take the area A, so the number of species available in this area will be less. Why? Because this area is very, very small. Okay, clear? Now if I increase the area from A to B, suppose करिए मेरा area initially A था, मैंने area B तक पहुंचा दिया. So I will observe as the area increases, okay, as the area increases, the species diversity will also increase. Yes or no? I am shifting the area. मैं A से जो है B area पे shift हो गई. I am taking this area into account. Okay, I am taking this area into account. So I have shifted the area from A to B. So as the area increases, species diversity also increases. Now let's move to from area B, I am going to the area C. So again the area will increase. Now I am taking this area into account, total, up to C. So again I will observe that as the area increases, again the species diversity will also increase. Okay, clear? Because the number of species that will be found in a particular area, that will be more. Now from C I am shifting to the area D. अब मैं D area में देखती हूँ. So I will observe that although area is increasing here, as I am moving from C to D, अब ये जो C है, मैं जब C से D की तरफ जा रही हूँ, area increase कर रहा है. Okay, area is increasing, but I observe the number of species diversity, the increase in the number of species diversity is not much. Okay, so this is what Alexander von Humboldt has described, that if we increase the area, the number of species available in the area will also increase, but to a certain extent. So that extent here is C. अगर हम C से ज़्यादा area consider करते हैं तो हमारी जो species richness है, number of species है, वो इतनी ज़्यादा increase नहीं करती है. And if we plot the same numbers that I'm comparing here, A, B, C, D, देखिए इसे हम A, B, C, D को जो diagrammatically समझ रहे हैं, let's represent it graphically. इसको हम graphically represent करते हैं. So we will have this kind of curve, which is a rectangular hyperbola. Okay, it is a rectangular hyperbola. Clear? When we draw a graph between the species richness and the area, we will observe a rectangular hyperbola graph is prepared that can be represented by S is equal to CAZ. Okay, S is equal to CAZ. Okay. Now let's convert this rectangular hyperbola into a straight line graph. Okay. So I have an equation S is equal to CAZ. This is my equation of rectangular hyperbola. Okay, everyone? That is CAZ. So let's apply the log on both sides. So it becomes log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. So when we apply log on both sides, we come to a straight line equation which is represented as log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay, everyone? Initially, the flow chart that the diagram that we obtain, this graph that we obtain is S is equal to CAZ. And when we apply log on both the sides, we will observe that the equation becomes log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay? Now, let's understand what these terms means. Now, here, the S means the species richness. Okay? S means the species richness. A means your area. And Z is the slope of the line. Okay? L is the slope of the straight line. And C is a y-intercept. Means where your straight line will be intercepted by the y-axis. And mostly you will observe that the value of Z, it lies between the range of 0.1 to 0.2. तो ज़्यादातर हम ये डिस्कवर करेंगे कि जो वैल्यू ऑफ Z है वो ज़्यादातर आपकी 0.1 0.2 के बीच में होगी, regardless of the taxonomic group or the region whatever we are talking about. But if we analyze, okay, so generally the range of value of Z is 0.1 to 0.2. Now, if we compare the species area relationship for a very large area, let's suppose an entire continent, in that case the slope of the line or the Z value will be between 0.6 to 1.2. तो अगर हम बहुत ज़्यादा एरिया लेते हैं, suppose we have taken an entire continent like Asia and Africa like this, in that case the value of Z will be between 0.6 to 1.2. While in case of the frugivorous birds and mammals, frugivorous birds means the birds that eat the fruits. So fruit eating birds, they are referred to as frugivorous. And the mammals that are found in the tropical forest of different continents, the slope is 1.15. Okay. The slope has been observed to be 1.15. So generally the line of slope is 0.1 from 0.1 to 0.2. General value of Z is 0.1 to 0.2. And when we are taking the whole continent into account, if we increase a large area, then it is between 0.6 to 1.2. And in terms of frugivorous birds and mammals, if we take into account from all in the tropical forest, it will still be steeper. It will become 1.15. Right? So value of Z, it increases depending upon the area and the number of species that are available. Okay, everyone? Okay. So in next particular video, we'll be talking about the loss of biodiversity. Right? So for today, your homework is that you'll be making notes of the topic and you will be reading the page numbers 258 to 262. And if there is any doubt, any query, anything that you need, you feel that you need to discuss with me, you can call me personally. Okay, everyone? So that's all for today. Bye, everyone.